So I decided to start Game 6 before Game 5 is over because I'm getting kind of tired of Game 5, to be frankly honest. So I'll probably be doing some catch-up videos once Game 5 wraps up. But just thought we get this going. I think Game 5 is going to be ending soon. I hope it's going to be ending soon. But anyways, decided to start this one up. The downside is I don't get my ranking to, get someone in there. So who knows where this person is? We got Torch. I don't recognize the name. I don't think I played them before, but I just want to get going. I know we're going to need to get some games under the belt by February in order to hopefully be pressing the top half of Platinum, and ideally I'd love to try to make a top 10 push, but I don't know if I get enough games in or not. So here we go, R1. Let's see what we got. Is he watching to see my... Oh, he is watching to watch the spectacular wins in West Russia and Ukraine that I plan to have. Five-hit wipe, first round of dice. Not quite. Ugh. Not good. Come on, guys. Come on. Phew, okay, there we go. I'll take that. Get the hit. I'd love a miss. Give me that average 6. Be nice. Okay. All right. All right. We ended out okay. Started scary, ended okay. I'm okay with that. All right. The always scary Ukraine. Okay, 4 hits. That's solid. That's solid. Okay. Okay. All right. We're okay. That's not bad. All right. That's all of them. Good. Okay. All right. All right. We'll take that. Above average there, so that's good. All right. So we got an above average start. Above average start, actually, we'll keep him back. Just for that little extra, because I like to do that in case I decide to go KJF. There we go. See what he brings. Oh boy. So here's the moment everyone hates to see. You open up and you see all this dark blue in the Atlantic. Scary as all can get out. You got 2 transports, battleship, cruiser. He built a bomber, which can help with potential sea lion. He's got some fighters. He's got all sorts of stuff. And this is this battleship transport immediately is threatening both DC and London. So It's a very scary attack. Originally, when I first time I saw this with the Germans, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I actually haven't seen it too much since, to be frankly honest. A couple little variations here, there, but the worst is when Seazone 10 goes their way as well. That's just, oh. I mean, I guess I can be thankful that there's not a sub sitting in Seazone 7 too, because he did do the 5-1 attack, so he very easily could have had a sub sitting there, which would have made this even that much more of a headache. Um, but this is where I've been preaching, and I preach it in the Discord channel, and I say what I'm gonna do when this happens. And I think I've only had like one or two games that this is actually that I've had people do this since I said it. So I don't have a ton of experience doing this, but this is the one and only setup that I get where I really feel I need to go ahead and do Seazone 37 with UK1. And I'm not generally not a big fan of it, even though it is slightly favored for the Allies. I'm generally not a fan of Seazone 37. I'll be frankly honest. When it goes good, it's great, it's fantastic. When it goes bad, it's bad. So generally not a huge fan of it, but this is a scenario where I just think we have to. And I'm going to pull over the calculator here for a second just to kind of go through some of the steps of this. Um, and here we go. So this is the Seazone 37 using the calculator. I did switch the order of loss up just a little bit because I would definitely take the cruiser before the fighter. So I got carrier going first, then the sub, then the cruisers, then the fighters. And for the defense, I'm going to assume the best that they're going to take their carriers before their fighters and then battleship. If they have their fighters for carriers, that's a little bit more in favor for the allies and for the attack. So, just the base attack here right off the bat, it's a 64% chance that something survives, and most likely that's going to be a fighter for the allies. 30% chance something for the defense survives, and that would be a battleship, unfortunately, if it does, right? Because they're going to take the battleship last. Small chance it could be where it's just a sub living and a fighter living is a possibility. But anything surviving of the Japan fleet is bad news. But we got a 70% chance that nothing survives, and we got a 64% chance that the fighter is going to survive for the Allies. So I'm taking those two odds, and that's what I'm going to look at. Either nothing survives at all for either side, 70% chance, and 64% of that 70, something is going to survive of the Allies. So let me see, I got it in here somewhere. Here we go. So this is what coming back into, so J1, Seazone 35 is the India Seazone, where I'm going to drop two destroyers. I'm pulling the med destroyer in and the carrier, and if one fighter survives, at 64% chance, right? This is what they have that can attack that zone, and already it's stacked. They cannot kill the India. Well, I mean they can. I mean they can take the odds, of course, but the odds are in my favor that they cannot kill the India Seazone there right off the bat. So that is a fantastic start because then there's a whole lot that UK is going to have. They're going to have three destroyers sitting in India that can go about doing destroyer blocks to set up other maneuvers and whatnots, or even just building more fleet into the India Seazone on UK2. So lots of options here. Let's take the 70% chance that nothing survives. And so now this does flip over to where it's going to be a favored for Japan attacking somewhat. But in doing so, they're going to be losing at least two. They're probably going to lose two, maybe three of these units in doing so when they go through this. So at the very least, they're going to be pretty darn neutered as a Japan for US coming. Then of course US is going to come hard and fast then at that point. So 70% chance to have just a fantastic start and a KJF for an aggressive KJF. I can't not take that. So let's talk about the other 30%. So say this goes poorly and the only thing that survives is the Japan battleship or some of their fleet or whatever. That's what survives. Well, then we're going to be in some heat of trouble, of course. Um, my transport's pretty much going to be dead because I won't have anywhere for him to go. I'll probably throw him out this way, so at the very least he has to send his sub, and that would decrease the chances of them doing a pearl in that case. Um, maybe I bring it this way if it's a fighter that survives and not the battleship for some reason. Then he has to use the fighter and has to land right back there and limits his mobility that way. But I mean, that transport's pretty much dead. I'm not going to put units on it at the very least. And then the other transport I'll just take over here, so he has to reach her. Most likely won't be able to get it at all because of it being a battleship or a carrier. Hopefully the carrier doesn't survive in that case. So, but the KJF may not be good then. If he's got a battleship living and all my UK fleet's gone, so he'd still have both his battleships, it's going to be a tough KJF. So then you think about it, I've got a carrier and 2 destroyer build. Well, I could drop them here, and I plan on taking out the battleship with my UK 2 fighters and a bomber. I plan on taking out the sub with the US, and we'll take out that transport with the Russian fighter going the 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. So that's my plans this turn. So from there, then it's a matter of the cruisers living, 2 fighters. If I drop it over here, this fighter can't reach, right? So he would have a cruiser, 2 fighters, and a bomber. So he would have 4 attacking units. I would have my 2 destroyers, a carrier, hopefully at least 1 of the fighters, if not 2 of the fighters, surviving that I could put up in 7, or even I could even put it in 8 and risk this guy being able to reach as well. But, 2 destroyers and a carrier with 1 or 2 fighters should be able to survive, assuming these guys are gone. And then we just gonna flip this into a slowed up KGF and just hope we can make a comeback and not lose India J3 because we're not building any units there this turn, right? So that's the big concern with doing this is Japan becomes a big target because they have 2 transports live J1. India becomes a big part of it. Japan still would have 2 transports living, and UK would have no additional units in India. So that's we're just gonna have to live with the J3 India almost as a reality. The good news with this setup is he didn't do anything with TJ, right? So I can pull my units back, pull this 1 infantry up, and so I'm going to have 3 infantry, artillery, tank. So that's going to give me 5 units versus his 4 sitting there, bringing this guy up. And hopefully if everything goes well, we're going to have the bomber live and come over here. And so we'd have the bomber pressure, or we'll have the 1 fighter survive and we'll have that fighter pressure here. So we shouldn't have to worry about Southern Africa if the KJF goes on. So that's the whole plan. And that's talking a lot. I know there's a lot of talking, but this is one of those things that people say, "What do you do if this comes up?" And so this is going to be my go. So we're building 2 destroyers and a carrier. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, hair crossed, spinning around, facing east. Pull all the good luck in that I can, because Seazone 37 always makes me nervous. I think the last couple of times I did try it went really poorly. So I will speak to this. One of my Discord buddies mentioned, do you also go for DEI UK1? Go for the big kill, because I could take 2 transport 2 units, have 4v2, which is like a 75% chance win, and take DEI on UK1 as well. And of course that would be pretty powerful as well. And if you have something survive, then he possibly wouldn't be able to kill them. But at the same time, he does have 2 fighters, a destroyer, and a bomber, all that can reach there. So it's not like that. They would just be able to wipe it out, and I'd lose my 2 transports. And if it goes poorly, I don't have any options at all. It's just gonna be two loaded transports with 4 infantry just being destroyed. So I tend to not to. Um, if things go well, I'll be taking DEI UK2, possibly even Borneo UK2. So I'm not hard pressed to go ahead and do the major victory there, if you will. All right, let's see. So I'm going to do Seazone 37 first to let me know what I want to lose over here in Seazone 13. If 37 goes good, then I'm not dropping a fleet here, so I'm not worried about keeping my fighter. So I'd rather lose a fighter first and let my bomber live so I can get my bomber over here putting pressure on. If 37 goes bad and I'm going to have to drop my fleet in the Atlantic, I'll probably lose my bomber first so I can drop my fighters on the carrier. And I think that's it, right? Yeah, that's it. Here we go. All right. First game as a gold ranked player. Or poor. That's a poor prognosticator. Come on now. Remember, you can choose which battle you do first by right-clicking for those that did not know that. Like I said, I want to know how this goes first. Did it hit? All right. Oh, Nelly. That's one, two. That's the whole thing. That's a kit and caboodle there. Oh, Nelly. Oh, Nelly. I wasn't counting on surviving. I don't even, this much surviving. I don't even know what to let live. Yikes. Okay, so what do I want to let live? All right, I'm going to pause. I wasn't expecting a Yahtzee. So yeah, so I was just taken by shock there. I want at least one of the fighters to make it back over there, so that'd only leave me 2 units that I could leave in Seazone 37. And no 2 units is going to survive against 2 fighters destroying our bomber. So you know they're going to get destroyed. So now I'm thinking, okay, so what can make them trying to hit whatever's left be painful? And I'll take both fighters back to the carrier in India, so that stack's absolutely safe. So a cruiser gives me a 50% shot hitting back. I thought about saying the sub to make him send the destroyer, but if he doesn't send the destroyer, then I get a 50% shot at one of his planes, and I'll be happy to take a 50% shot at one of his planes. So we're going to leave the cruiser there. Alright, so we'd like for the bomber to live here. We'd like for all three to live, don't get me wrong, actually. I mean, we want all three to live. Nice. I'm going to take the hit on a fighter. I'm going to lead the well, no, I'm not. No, actually, I'm going to leave the transport there. That is what I wanted to say. Bomber, we're going to bring him on up into here. I'm going to bring the fighter down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can be in Seazone 35 next turn. So we can continue to stack up the Seazone potentially against them. Now I gotta remember to take that transport out with my fighter. The other thing, so coming here, this fighter can go 1, 2, 3, nowhere to land. This fighter 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't reach him. Bomber 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's safe coming out over here. And so that gives me the potential of a transport to Borneo and a transport to DEI next turn if I choose it. I'm not necessarily saying that's what I'm gonna do, but I'm saying that's a possibility. All right, I think that's everybody. We'll see what he decides to do. Okay, so it's time for full KJF. Again, today is a football game night, and so I got to run. But we're gonna just get the KJF rolling. So Japan, they went into full defense. They know what's coming. Built a destroyer sub and built a complex in here. And a lot of times people say building a complex in the face of a KJF is a bad idea. I'm not sure that I entirely agree with that, especially with the fact that he knows it's coming and he built a destroyer sub, which is more than most got on J1 head start. Now we did have that Seazone 37, of course, but the Quang Tung factor allows him to keep dropping 2 boats at a time here while reinforcing from boats here. This is not a bad place for a factory in a KJF is where I'm going at with that, and then eventually I can transition over. But at some point, hopefully US is going to be taking that, and that'll be US's, because in all likelihood, this is going to be UK. This could be end up UK or US. This will be US, this will be US, and then hopefully we get a US factory up here and maybe in here. So those are the different zones that we can be looking at. One of the things I want to set up and make notice of right away is he's giving me with my bomber. I don't know if he lost track of my bomber or not in this possibly, but with my bomber, 3 destroyers, carrier, 2 fighters, and a cruiser versus what he has here, I have like a 65% chance of wiping that, and I'm going to take that. I'm going to trade UK units for Japan units in a heartbeat. Um, if I can kill these transports, then this is sitting up here. Nobody can get here because he's got nobody in Manchuria here. So Briasha is wide open, and this is a 75% battle 4v2. So I'm going to take that because that also gives 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to land here where he'll be able to kill it, or 5, 6. I'll be able to land my bomber and save it up there, or these fighters because I'll end up killing the carrier first. Go 1, 2, 3, and then they could land in there as 4 and be safe. So it gives me some safe landing zones for my UK air if I take that. So we're going to go ahead and push hard with Russia up this direction this turn as well. But of course, that does mean that's 4 units not coming to the front line versus the Germans who are going to be coming hard and fast. You can almost guarantee that. So in any case, US build, we're going with the standard build, but I'm going to have some flexibility. So I got 2 subs, 2 destroyers, and a carrier being built. Normally I drop all those in Seazone 56, but I do got to take care of this cruiser and eventually get a build here, and I already got an advantage going, and I'm hopefully going to grow that advantage. So I might drop 1 or 2 of my boats over here in Seazone 11 to help the UK get started, plus to clear out this cruiser. Kind of depends on how the sub battle goes. So with that in mind, we are going to take out the sub using the fighter, let the bomber come take care of this transport instead of having to use my Russia fighter there because I want to use him on the front lines here. I was thinking about having the bomber try to take the 1v1 on the cruiser now, but we're just going to save him and take care of that. So we got our sub here. We want to get a destroyer battleship. Go ahead, take care of this guy. Sure, we get that one taken care of. These guys aren't going to attack anything. You will notice one thing I made note of right away is I do have 1, 2, 3, 4 U.S. fighters on the board right now. So I am definitely going to get to 2 carriers at some point to make utilization of them. But right now, one fighter's going this way. This fighter's going to be protecting here. So we'll get a carrier next turn probably with my build. Although normally I do the 5 destroyers in US2. That. I'd like to save those successful surprise strikes for later in the fleet battles because that was a gimme anyways. But it's nice to see the dice go. All right, phew. All right, all right, and the destroyer lives, so that's good news too. Actually, yeah, no, I want to go up there. I could fly the one down there, but I want to have a lot of times I go north first with my pressure, so we're gonna want to have that. I'm debating about leaving my one transport and sacrificing it up in here just to turn around and delay them. You know what? I think I'm going to do that. We're going to come down here so I can continue just in case for backup for Africa, or I can continue on that way, or with my build here, I can come up here and then next turn help UK with Iceland or Norway or something along those lines. Maybe I should go that way first, but I don't want to put them in Seazone 10 where the cruiser can attack them right now anyways and never get anywhere. Oh, don't want to forget about these guys. We're going to put him in here for backup in case this goes badly. Poorly, I guess is better language skills. So I am going to drop one of my destroyers there for backup in case he does hit the destroyer with the cruiser. I got a destroyer plus my air that can come back to attack him. Otherwise, I can start working that destroyer up and then come in to help out UK eventually. Or I can have my 2 destroyers come down here where they can hold off a bomber. Probably not the extra UK fighter since he did take Morocco or Gibraltar though. So anyways, options. Just trying to leave options open. So my initial thought was I was going to build some artillery for defenses, but since I'm going to go ahead and take this attack and I'm going to be losing lots of guys, we're going to go ahead and go max unit build. And we're going to do the 8-1. I want to take all of these so I can put my tanks down here again just as a backup to India because I like having my tanks in Caucasus R2 as backup. But oh, we're gonna go ahead and do that guy. So I'm going a little heavy on my attacks, which I normally don't like doing this on a KJF, but I don't know. I just felt like doing it, I guess. Come on, guys. Alright, well that stinks. Deep breath. Alright, I'm gonna do one more. Whiff! Come on! Come on! Give it to me! Gosh, darn it. Why did I do it? I knew I shouldn't have done it. That's what I get for being tilted, because I really wanted that spot. It was so much better than to do that. Alright. Silly me. Oh, come on. Come on. Thank you. Let's go ahead and do this one first, because this is a pretty important one. There we go. Alright, well that's good. I'll take that for sure. I mean, I hate that I had to send that I sent so many, but maybe they'll get a couple hits in defense back at least. Alright. I almost want to throw that AA in there and make him work for it. Because we're going to have... I mean, he could send 12, 13, have 11 units live. We're going to have 4, 7, 11 plus 2. Yeah, I'm going to throw the AA in there. Make him think exactly how he wants to go about it. I mean, he's got 5, non-tanker Air Force, but that's not enough to take him. So he'll have to throw at least a tank or 2 or risk some air. So we're going to do it. This is frustrating. Man, I really wanted that. Because that does mean now that the bomber needs to be... I need that bomber for that extra firepower in this battle, but it's going to have to be sacrificial. Because it's best case it lands here and it's going to get wiped out. Alright, well, there we go. So, okay, so Germany 2, he but all ground. 12 ground, not bad. Um, Although he did stack Bellow in this case instead of Corellia, which I would have thought Corellia would be more valuable, so I'm going to do a 2-2 hit just to prevent, if I can take Corellia again for a round, that'll give me a chance to prevent building up front. And I may still have enough to I'll take Ukraine and stack West Russia. We'll get to that when we get to the Russia's turn. Right now we're on UK's turn. So with my cruiser carrier, 3 destroyers, 2 fighters, and a bomber, I've got a 67% shot on his fleet here. It's a KJF. I've got to take something like that with UK versus Japan. And meanwhile, I do have my 2 transports that I can do a 4 infantry versus 2 infantry gig again. And if I wipe this out and I hit here, he has nothing that the bomber fighter, they can't reach over here. Now, again, it's a 75% shot with a 4 infantry versus 2, and I obviously failed that up here. So I'm still in my mind deciding whether I want to go for that, just go for the fleet wipe, pull the transports back for a turn. Smarter thing would be just go for the fleet hit and then see how it goes and then come back for this next turn. But I just, we're playing an aggressive KJF, so we're going to play an aggressive KJF. All right, so purchase, here we go. I'm looking at 2 subs and 2 fighters. Main reason, 2 fighters in here gives me a backup if this doesn't go well. I need to at least kill the fighters in this case, but it'll give me still a 50-50 shot. Actually, a little bit better because I'm going to save my tank. I'm going to use an infantry to take Egypt, and if I have to, I can non-combat my tank back to India if this looks rough after the battle for any reason. Otherwise, I'll put 1 fighter and put 2 subs here, again, to help threaten if he puts anything in here and whatever survives and, going from there kind of scenario. And if I have to put a sub up here, fantastic. I got a sub hunting his cruiser. He has to build a destroyer or give me a shot at a sub versus cruiser ordeal. So, as well as set up a time where I can drop a fleet UK3 up here with 2 US destroyers in the sub, and then I'd be covered unless he builds heavy air. So, that's the plan. Now, I am pretty much, well, I am because I failed up there, go ahead and saying, hey, I'm going to lose my bomber into my 2 fighters no matter what. And then in all reality, anything that lives here, he's got his destroyer sub and 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, he's got 4 units that can come in there. So most likely I'm going to take the carrier as a loss early unless it's looking for some reason like it's going exceptionally well like the Seazone 37 did. And if I think my carrier and both fighters could survive, then maybe I let them live, but probably not. I'm probably sending this whole fleet, just assuming the entire air and the fleet is going to die. And that's fine. I'm okay with that, killing his if I get his 2 transport battleship carrier out of here, he's pretty much, with the US coming, pretty much already neutered. So, like I said, it's an aggressive KJF, so we're going to play aggressive. I don't like your unlikelies. It's like 67% and 77%, something like that. Alright, we need to hit first round this time. Arrgh. Arrgh. There we go. Thank you. Whew. Worked this time. Now the big one, the fleet. I'm going to get my calculator up for second rounds because there's a possibility I can retreat it if need be. The fleet battle, that is. So average is us getting 3 to 4 hits and him getting 3 hits on the first round. Oh wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on, let me get my... Yeah, no, that's all right. So we want 4 hits. 4 hits to his 3. There's 4. All right, we got the 4 hits. Oh, the 5. Yikes. So we got 3 more hits that we really need to get. And I'm going to have 3, and he's going to have his 3. Wait a second. We're going to take hits anyways. I could just accept the fact that his fighters don't have a carrier anymore, but these are dead anyways. Alright, Bomber, we need that hit. We need that hit. We need that hit. We really need this battleship out of the water. Okay. Alright, well, transports live, so that's a little bit of a pain, but the Navy's gone, the air's gone. I'll take that in a KJF trade regardless. So, what does that mean on India over here real quick? Because now he's got a tank, 2 transports, and a load here he can send. What all do I need to put in India then? So if he's taking 3 infantry, 3 artillery, a tank, and he's got this fighter that can still reach me. Got an AA, 3 infantry. We drop our 2 fighters there. That gives me 3 fighters. That takes me, it makes it 50-50. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pull the tank back. Again, the good news is nothing can reach my transport, so I can come back through here, pick up units to hit Egypt, so we should still have Egypt feeling safe. But we're going to go ahead and pull the tank back to be in there. So we're going to want to be able to grab the tank. 2. So that'll give me 4, 5. He's got 4. I have my 2 fighters there that I could hit him with. So, yeah, I'm good with that. So we still have the 4 ground that the transports can pick up plus him, so we'll have 5 ground versus 4, plus I'll have my 2 fighters in here that I can utilize for it, or actually 3 fighters because I got this fighter too. So we're good there. Alright, I would have liked to have picked up the transports, but I'll be happy with what we got. And we still get at least 1 sub starting to sub leak continuing. Here, I can reach anywhere that that cruiser can go then. Do need to make sure sub is set to submerge. Go. Right. The U.S. already loaded. I'm going to be able to build what you got, 35. So he can build 5 boats if he wants to. That'll give him 7. And we've got what's that, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 already over there. So we're already well ahead on the war. So we're going to become straight at Japan, likely with the U.S. Okay, so Japan, sorry, I forgot to switch over here. They bought a carrier, a submarine, and infantry. I kind of understand, but I don't fully understand the carrier buy. Um, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're in a tough spot regardless, so I can't really fault it. But we are going to be coming in hard. Um, the the 5 infantry buy, I don't know. They're in a tough situation, although they are going to get a lot of income because I'm going to end up giving up all of this to Japan just to save the front over here. But because we're already collapsing Japan, I'm okay with that. He did back out for any pressure on India. Transports are out of range. I think he made a mistake here. I think he must have had a misclick and didn't get them over like he had planned, wherever he's planning on going with that, because this is killable and will be killed by my fighters because I'm coming straight at Japan with my navy here. So um, I did think about buying a carrier this turn, like I had talked about, but I do need to bring this fighter back up into West Russia, and he might be tied up there for a few turns. So building it now doesn't really add any value. So instead, I did decide to go ahead and build 4 destroyers and go ahead and get another transport on the board because heck, we might as well start getting some transports running. Don't think I actually have any combats. I could take a shot again on the cruiser, but why risk it when I got the sub here, and eventually we're gonna have some boats and whatnot. So there's might as well use something better for fodder for potentially hitting him. Um, oh yeah, that's right. We do want to hit him. Yeah, no, I think that just may be all that we have for attack-wise now that I think about it. Um, so we'll do that. Alright, so we're gonna bring everything on into here. Trying to decide if I want to put 1 sub up here just to keep those neutralized so you can't we do a destroyer block and then build back here, but I'm gonna have my fighters too. And let's just keep it all together. Let's not overthink it. Alright, so I could go to Africa to help protect Africa. I could go back towards the Pacific and help with the Pacific. Or I can come up here and get ready to sacrifice this transport for the fact of taking Norway when he's concentrating all his Germans coming towards Ukraine, West Russia, Caucasus, and not necessarily looking at the northern route with Karelia. So a take on Norway is going to get me some points for a little while. So I'm thinking I'm going to go back up there and take that for a little bit. This is a backup because I'm going to make a somewhat risky turn with Russia this time, and this will be my backup to make Caucasus awkward if I have to leave some guys living here. We're getting as many units into West Russia as we can. We're doing this just because Japan does have a lot of money and they're going to be getting a lot of money, so they're going to be able to build a lot of air force. So even though we got a dominant lead here, we're going to need to continue to grow that and keep it. And there's going to be that turn or two when we're building a complex here or there. So so I hope to take 4. What do we got? 22. So we hope to get to 26. 24. So if we take 1 of the 2. So yeah, we're going to go with the 2 artillery. So what I'm talking through is it better to save those 2 and just keep building some infantry because we're going to start getting thin here. But I think we're going to go ahead and build 2 artillery. I wanted to be able to get 1 from each so that I can retreat to West Russia if that's what we choose to do. I wanted to do this one first because it tells me a lot about what I need to do as far as continuing or retreating in Ukraine. I'd like to get a quick kill here. Nice. Okay, good. One for one, okay. There we go. Very nice. There we go. Alright guys, this is going to be a speed round and it looks like my computer might be being slow, so this might be jumpy. I apologize if it is. But Germany bought a bomber, a tank, and some ground. So he put his bomber down here and taken Egypt, and he's got a bomber here, put a tank in. Moved into here, and here. So this is all indicating he is coming the southern route and not even worrying about going to Corellia route. I did all the math. I can't do both of these. I can't stack both of these. So I'm going to have to trade one of them. He won't be able to go into a stack yet, I don't believe. But we will have to trade one per one turn. And then normal G5, he should be able to get into West Russia, G6 into here. So that's look like it's not going to change. My goal for this round is dead zone Egypt, dead zone Burma, get a second sub in because I did the math and they've got 34 IPC. They buy 5 units that can attack me, boats or navy. Then I need 2 US or 2 UK subs to meet the rest of the US to stack the Philly Seazone US 3 UK 4. So we're going to go ahead and get the second one out. He could send his destroyer to kill it with a fighter if he wants, but this sub's going to come out. I'll be able to come back. I'll have fighters. I could just trade it right back and forth, and I'm happy to trade UK and Japan boats. So that is my super fast summary. Oh yes, and prepare for a UK4 Atlantic drop. So we are building 2 fighters to drop over here, and we're building a sub and an infantry artillery to drop into the India Seazone. So this is going to be a sacrificial transport, obviously, because this bomber is here, this bomber, both of them could kill them, the sub could kill them. So that transport is going to be a sacrifice. I am leaving my 1 infantry here, just because that was convenient. Let's see, we do want to go ahead and take this. I was originally going to try and get my UK fighters up into West Russia this turn. But after looking at it and not being able to stack West Russia and Caucasus, I don't think there's any need. So we're just going to keep them down here. And then UK4, we're probably going to be able to bring them into the defense over here because US will be up and running on its own. Da, 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 da. I am not going to take the sub versus cruiser attack. I mean, it's like, what, 50-50? I don't even know. So it's not a guarantee, whereas 2 destroyers and a bomber should hit it in one shot and at worst lose a destroyer. So that's what we're looking at there. Here we go. Of course, when you're in a hurry, no one wants to hit. Come on, hit. Thank you. I do agree with whoever said there always seems to be a pause when there's a hit. When I'm offensively rolling, I've noticed that as well. So you can see that momentary pause. Okay, I got a hit. So I love it when I'm on offense and I see that pause. Got him. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring him on down here, out of reach of the destroyer, but in reach of India, because the destroyer can hit any of those. Woo, woo, come on back. Going to bring these guys in. Oh wait, what all did I put over here? Hold on. Fighters and tank? Fighters and tank, okay. So that they can reach whatever we need them to. We moved our artillery over. I'm building. That'll give me 3, 2, 1, 3 tanks, or 3 fighters, excuse me, 3 infantry, 2 artillery, 1 tank that can reach Burma. He's got 8. Oh yes, this transport, we're just going to pull him out of danger over here, but he can come up to 34 and transport this infantry over with this infantry to hit here with a tank and 3 fighters to hit Egypt. Sub. We are going to bring him down, still in reach of 5 to help prevent any crazy sea lion attempts. I am going to move these guys over, prevent any transport, trying to kill my fighter there. And there we go. I want to make sure I forgot to check. I do want to be on submerged right now. We are. And that's it. Okay, so we're getting ready to do US 3. First things first, Japan 3, they bought 2 fighters, infantry, and a destroyer. I didn't even look at what all they did attack-wise. They did a lot of taking inland, right, which was to be expected. Oh, he took out my transport with his sub. That's fine. And he attacked Burma and took Burma. To be expected. Kaza, Novo, Venkai, and Yakat were all just freebies. So that's where he ended up. He did put his destroyer here to block me from, just go right on into Manchuria back here. He's got 5 units there. I couldn't bombard. I've only got 2 infantry, 2 fighters, so I don't really have a direct attack on Japan itself. But he does leave me the Philippines open here. So I will be looking at taking the Philippines and figuring out what we're going to do with these guys. Up here, this is a little bit trickier. I sat there and looked at things, and I was trying to decide between if I stacked West Russia, then I could keep Karelia dead zone. But that would give him Caucasus. I did check; it would be very narrow if he moved everything in and flew his 2 fighters and Japan bomber in. I would have a profitable 50-50 battle to wipe him all out there. But it's 50-50, right? And I don't know that I want to be the one to take the 50-50 right now. And if I just dead zone it and he trades it, and then he brings in these 10 these 9 plus this one, 10, and brings his fighters in range, that's 14 units. I don't think I would be able to come back without being able to bring my fighters in to restack it next turn, so then he'd be going directly to a Caucasus stack German 5. He still may be able to. I haven't really done that calculating out yet, but hopefully with these 3 fighters coming into the picture, that'll limit that possibility. So we're going to stack Caucasus this turn, and West Russia will be dead zone, so he won't be able to stack at G4, but G5 he will be able to. But he also will be able to stack this. My opponent is a little bit shrewd. I look at some of his moves, and he's definitely a talented player here. I don't think he was expecting my answer to his opener with Germany. But by moving the cruiser up here, I thought he was just getting him out of the way. But then I realize he blocked me from taking Norway this turn, which would have given me. Then I could have moved into Finland while he tried to get into here. But now, if he stacks Karelia this turn and then I take it, then he can blitz a tank and all his air and retake Norway without too much loss of momentum going forward. I'm still going to make him do it because anything that I can, take a tank or 2 out of the way or whatever for a turn or 2, I am going to be happy to do. So we're going to make him work for it at least. But he did. That was a smart move there. Using his sub here means I can't just use my transport to dead zone Egypt. I'm going to have to move my sub in because you have to have a warship with a transport. So this sub won't be able to go this direction. When I rushed, I did mean for this sub to actually be in 46, not 38, because now I can't reach the Philippines, but I do still have enough here to stack the Philippines with US alone, so it turned out okay in the end in that regards, because this sub went that way, and he only built, 3 units that could attack me? Yeah, 2 fighters and the destroyer, where he could have built 5. So we're still going to take the Philippines and stack it, but some nice little moves, and he's being smart, taking as much income as he can with Japan through the mainland, since I've really have to fortify everything up to the front right here. So it's a good player. We're going to see where we go from here. And he's going to make this have to be a battle and see what happens. My transport hanging back, if Africa goes bad at least, then I could just bring him down and use US to do cleanup if need be too. So here we go. purchase. I did decide to go ahead and buy a fighter, a sub, a destroyer, and a carrier. I could keep going to more transports and just getting that all ready, but I decided to stick with warships, and I went ahead and decided to build a fighter because I got a feeling this fighter is going to be needed over here to help and not get over to match up. We do still have this fighter that can join me though. We do have 3 transports already. Borneo will need 2. We'll need 1 from Philippines probably once we get to that point. So, maybe 2. So we don't really need another transport right away for US anyways, as long as we don't lose any of the ones that we have going. Alright. And I could take out the destroyer, but I just want to go ahead and take out the Philippines as cleanly as I possibly can, because hopefully we want to not lose an infantry, so then we can just move right on down to Borneo next turn, and then he's only got his 1 transport and whatnot. As backup, I think we are just going to go this route. I thought about bringing them forward to like 59 or 52 and with the destroyers where he could battle it, but then we'd be threatening, and instead I'm just going to come down here where he'll have 2 fighters and a bomber that can reach, and I'll have my 4 destroyers. It's a 50-50-ish, but he'd definitely be losing all 3 of those, or definitely losing the 2 fighters, and he'd have to land the bomber somewhere here where presumably US would be able to strike it. I'm going to do this. I am going to go ahead. I haven't decided yet. I'll decide on the run whether I want to take the bomber or I want to take a destroyer out. Part of the thought of I can sacrifice a bomber is the U.S. is doing well enough here without the bomber that I could survive, but that would give me 2 surface ships for trying to get a UK fleet dropped. But of course, a bomber is a bomber, and I don't really want to lose a bomber. So, and like I said, we can't really go anywhere except for those, which I don't really want to do. So that's a no-go. Oh, he's online. So yada yada yada, la da 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 da. 2, 3, 4, but we're not gonna need him there. I'm just counting out my fighter setups for a second here. All right, here we go. Good clean kill. Good clean kill. Come on. Good. Oh, are you kidding me? That's not a good clean kill. Alright, so do we lose a fighter? Oh, you know what? I can fly a fighter over. That Alaska fighter can come over. Good thing I just counted that. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can keep my stack. And I can keep 1 infantry alive so I can continue to attack and go ahead and get the... Man! Are you kidding me? Erg. Alright, we're gonna lose 1. Whoa, no, 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 no. Hold up, hold up. Oh, just slow down. Slow your roll. 1 from there. And 1 from there. You punks. It's like, what, a 1 in 9 and 11% chance? It's not horrible, but I mean, Alright, let's get this. I know it's a whole bunch of infantry, but come on, a 4v1. Oh, I did have an artillery in there too. Come on, let's just... Don't do it. Kill him. Thank you. 3 or 4 hits. Well, all 3 of his guys got at least 1 hit, I should say. And another! Come on! Stop hitting! That means his cruiser has to miss at least. I mean, that's just the law of averages, right? If only it worked that way. His cruiser did miss. Woohoo! Law of averages. That is a made-up law, yes. It only applies to my games. Alright. I'm going to double check. Maybe I can move one of these destroyers down to 44 and just make that a little bit safer. Since I am going to be flying this stinking guy in here. I'm going to double check that last one. I think I need to move him to the Philippines. But I'm going to double check it. I'm going to bring him in there. Destroyer's got to stay put. So I can't move him up into here because it's, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, bomber. Do I want to risk the chance of a bomber versus 2 destroyers? You know, that's not a bad, it's not bad odds, right? And that would give me a chance to potentially sacrifice jump these guys on over. I was sitting here thinking that I was going to be dead zoned out of Seazone 2, but now I got 2 guys there. I'm going to do that. And I mean, I can still come back and rewind if I have to for Africa, but this allows me to then be able to shoot him. This one can't run to the, yeah, he can't reach. So I can sacrifice my transport. I was going to sacrifice his transport anyways, but now next turn I can send him all the way to Karelia to help with potential dead zone and there. So I'm going to use everything we need to stack Caucasus, but maybe leave Russian tanks back in Moscow if possible, so that I could blitz around. I would need to leave 2. I was going to leave 2 infantry here anyways to prevent a simple take by the tank, but that would give me 2, 3, 2. Now, of course, he's got 9 tanks. He'll be able to move in there and at least 1 infantry. Anyways, I'll have to think that out in just a second with my Russia turn. Let's put the video on pause for a second while I check out this Philippine battle real quick. Okay, so yeah, this fleet has a 2/3 chance of living without the 1 here, and if I just sent the 4 and had 2 fighters and a bomber, it was a 50-50. It was a toss-up, but that has 2 transports in it. This only has 1 transport and 1 infantry. That has 2 transports and 2 infantry and artillery behind it. So if he hits everything and just wipes everything out and wipes that out, you know, I'm still going to have my 2 fleets coming in. So I'm still in a good shape, even if he was to take that out. And it's only a 1/3 chance that he can do that. So I'm going to send the 1 extra destroyer this way just to help cover that zone. Let's see, what else did we want to do? We don't need him there anymore. I like to keep my AA sitting in Central America so that if Germany all of a sudden does get a navy out, I can move them there. Or if I decide to build transports and need them, I can move them there. So I tend to just keep them hanging out there in these KJFs. And that is it. Bummer on that fighter. That frustrates me. I guess it's a good thing I did build another fighter. And we may be building yet another fighter next turn, as it is. I do know with Russia, I do want to build a couple artilleries to help with the dead zoning of West Russia. That's a given. That's an unfortunate. I think I want to do that. I was debating on hitting him, you know, doing 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, and maybe I should. So the thing that I want to check out here, and I'm going to pause for just a moment, is the 1-2 with bomber fighter supporting a transport hitting there, followed by what do I need from Russia to try to see if we can create a dead zone of Karelia. At the very least, even if he sends all his tanks, then hopefully we'll have this dead zoned, Ukraine dead zone, but I'll have to figure out, you know, what does, excuse me, 20 units here look like trying to dead zone that. Can I dead zone 20 units there and dead zone here with him having his tanks up there? So I'm going to pause again. I know it's momentarily for you guys, so it's not that big a deal, but here we go. So yeah, I think I'm just going to do this turn. Again, I hate to be giving Japan some extra income because he's going to be able to take Vologda for free, which I don't like doing that. I'm just going to have to rely on the fact that I do have, you know, Japan lost Philippines, they lost DEI, they're going to lose Borneo. So, in fact, I'm giving them a little extra income for a couple turns up here. I'm just going to have to deal with it, I think. This is it. I mean, his force coming this way is pretty strong. And it looks like no matter what I do, he can probably stack both Karelia and Ukraine. It'll be thin, so I'm going to see how much his risk tolerance is, I think. Alright, no hit back. That's nice. I'm going to leave one there. Put two up there. Double check my numbers here. I'm going to put my 3 tanks so that they can be a blitz threat through there. And so that's going to give me 11, what, that's going to give me 9 infantry, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, plus 4 is going to give me 18, plus 3 air is going to be 21. He's going to have his 18, 19, 20. Some pretty heavy hitters in there. But overall, that's slightly my favor, so I'm going to leave it that way. So, because he also has to think about, you know, he wants to take Bellow. So, I think this is a good setup here. See what he thinks. Okay, folks. Germany, they did not stack Karelia. They stacked Bellow and Ukraine instead, which I think, you know, having that one Russian infantry live there, it was getting really thin for him to be able to take that and stack these two. And it looks like he's just not really all that interested in Karelia or worrying about Karelia. He's doing the straight beeline, probably to West Russia and then over into here next turn. I've done my math crunching and whatnot, and basically I need one UK fighter at least in Caucasus next turn to hold this from the 8, 8, 9 tanks, 3 fighters, and 2 bombers he's got coming. Now, generally speaking, again, with him buying 2 tanks, I feel like this is a turn too early because he already bought a bomber, so he spent extra money on a bomber. He bought a tank last time. these medium tanks in here, I think he's gonna miss those, one for that last tank, two, three, four, five, six ground, six infantry that he could have in here for that G7-8 timing. I think he's gonna be missing those. Whereas if he bought them, the infantry first, and then bought these later, the timing would hit better. At least that's what I'm hoping. I haven't completely calculated it out that far out in advance. Too far for me right now to be thinking. But right now, what I'm thinking is I want to make sure I keep this stacked. And with the UK, the tricky part is I want to make sure I keep India, which is not as simple as it looks. And I also need to keep Egypt and the South Africa plugged because he's playing this kind of smart. I mean, he did he did one infantry and a bomber and he won, which is painful because I could do one infantry and a fighter or two, but if I failed, then he'd be able to blitz through and I'd be in trouble. And with my transport kind of naked, he's not necessarily going to survive. I could bring him to different places and bring the subs to cover and maybe have that the one sub versus two sub to keep him alive. But I think I'm going to play this just slightly different. I want to keep a unit in South Africa just in case things leak through that I can use a one infantry and air attack at some point. So we got to do that. Either trade Burma or stack India enough to hold it. And I do want to get, because he took Iceland, unfortunately, that means I can't do my Iceland to Moscow ferry, which, is the reason he took that to begin with. So I could fly him to here to Arch, but then I also got to worry about the fact that 3 fighters and a bomber could reach there next turn. So I'd have to keep him covered with Russian infantry, which I'm not sure I'm going to have enough to do that. So I'd rather just build my carrier now, as well as 2 transports because he moved his fighters in. So I'm going to build 2 transports this turn so that in the big picture here, I'm already starting to look at what can I do for possible victory city wins here, right? U.S. taking this guy last is always a possibility. I kind of hoped if I'd had Karelia still this turn, then the U.S. might be able to go bam, bam. But there's no way for UK to grab one and US to grab 2 this turn. But I'm keeping the idea out. So if I have 2 transports here, Germany goes. He doesn't look like he's interested in stacking Karelia, and he's probably not going to go and stack France at this point. So UK could possibly get 2 victory cities to take me up to 9, and then can America with these other 2 transports coming into range, can we possibly find that 10th victory city? Unfortunately, what I don't like about the game is when you get to 9, it'll give him the warning when he has his Japan turn. It says, hey, you're 1 short, and that's going to remind him, okay, we need to dump everything we can in to defend that. So I like it when US can take the last 2. So we'll see what happens here. If he might leave it where I could possibly blitz the tank and sacrifice a bomber fighter to take it or something, then I might do something along those lines. Like if he only has 1 infantry sitting there after his next German turn. We'll have to see. But anyways, that's part of what's going through my mind is, okay, can we get a VC snipe in here somehow? So that's one thing in my mind. All right. So the purchase, we're going to buy an infantry and artillery for India, and that's the stinky part. I was 1 IPC short of being able to put 3 infantry there, which is what I really wanted to do. But at the same time, I wanted to get the 2 transports and the carrier down. So unfortunately, yeah, we're going to live life a little bit thin in India. Thinner than I would like, at least. So what I decided to do is I'm going to go ahead and use my transport. We got to have a sub help him along. So now the transport can go there. So remember, a transport cannot do a combat move and unload where there is a sub. And we're going to go ahead and send this and take it. Make sure that we take it. And that way, this 1 infantry and my 3 planes will be in range for him to hit with 2. Meanwhile, We're gonna hopefully trade there, and then this one will be able to slide back. I believe that's it for the UK attacks. These guys can't do anything. We're not going to hit that, obviously. All right. So now if he actually has his, this could get problematic if he actually has his subs set to fight and I lose that fight. I could be trouble, but I'm assuming his sub's going to be set to submerge. Because then Egypt should be fine and Burma. I mean, if he does fight and I lose it and I lose my infantry, then we're just going to have tank fighter versus infantry. And that could create some interesting situations. Oh, are we going to have a battle? Oh, okay. I thought the sub normally submerged sooner than that. We are not going to have a battle. I need to make sure I do not submerge my subs next time and at least have a chance of holding them off. Of course, the German bomber later could just pick off the transport anyways, but might as well not just let the sub get a freebie. Yeah, good. I was really hoping we could not get a hit there. He is bleeding the Africa troops. Berg. Well, that's nice at least, I guess. I'll be happy with that, I suppose. Alright, so I definitely need one in there. I could leave him here so he's just one away and could get back to India. And he also could go 1, 2, 3, 4 and get back to Moscow if not needed, but he'll be needed, obviously, right? He's gonna go ahead and take that battle. I put him in here, he could do like an airstrike, right? With the bombers, so even with 2 fighters, that may not be right in here. I think we're just gonna go here and here. Do you want to make sure we're set to fight, not submerge? What? We should change this one too. Yikes. I hope that takes place now. Oh, good gracious. It used to be when you change it during a friendly turn, it could still take place. Now I'm half worried that my subs are going to submerge and he's going to take that attack. Oh, that would be, well, whatever. We're just going to move on. I don't really need him to zero out there anymore. Let's just start bringing him on around. Ultimately, I'll use him to help dead zone the sea zones for sea lions and then for a build here, but he's not going to have enough to sea lion. I'm gonna go ahead, and this is kind of crazy, but I almost want to go ahead and stick this guy where he can hit me with his destroyer. Because that pulls him off of this Seazone and one less defender against the US, which, by the way, can bring this fighter 1, 2, 3, 4. These two fighters can go 1, 2, 3, 4. And this fighter can go 1, 2, 3, 4 with the two fighters landing in 61. So I got 4 fighters that can hit here next turn. So I want to lure his destroyer away, or it could just cause trouble later. So we're going to move him on in here and just see what happens. These guys are no longer needed in Alaska. Eventually, maybe they'll come over here for a UK transport. Put our 2 transport and the carrier up there. There we go. Okay, guys, so here we go for US turn 4. I keep forgetting to show this. Actually, I'll show that after US 4, so we'll be at the end of the turn. Let's see, Japan bought a fighter, a bomber, 2 infantry, and artillery. Did some various attacks, whatnot. But as you can see, the big thing is he moves some guys up here. He's got a destroyer to block these guys from going straight into it. These guys can't quite reach there, but we do have 3 fighters that can reach there, and he's got 2 surface ships with the transport. So I do think we're gonna try and take them out. We're gonna use our sub to take out this destroyer. So all he has left is a sub up there, a sub down here, and then of course his Air Force. So the Air Force is starting to become a growing concern. He's got 2 bombers and 5 fighters. So a lot of surface. Thankfully we do got this surface coming in, and we got these guys coming in. But the other thing too here is, at first I thought he doesn't have enough to stack West Russia 5 when I did all the calculating and all that fun stuff. But all of these fighters will be able to move in here on his Japan 5, and he'll be fine. So not to concern. He has nothing to really be too concerned about. The only good news is he'll have to stay there, West Russia 6, or let me have a 1, 2, 3, 5 fighter shot at whatever he has living there, which is probably worth it as well, because he'll have like 4 fighters sitting there, so, and an infantry. So I probably wouldn't take that shot anyway. So he's gonna do okay. He's gonna be able to get in here 5, in here 6, and we're gonna hope we can hold Berlin on 7. He's got a lot of firepower coming, so we shall see. So, any case, since we are throwing our fighters in here against his fleet, we're gonna go ahead and plan on building 2 fighters. Hopefully, be able to leave the carrier here. It's a possibility that we may have to move the carrier to catch some fighters, though. So they'd have to start in West USA, but here would be a better Seazone, because then they can fly all the way over to 61, which is hopefully ideally where we can get them next turn, so that they're here US 5, so that US 6 they can fly into Moscow for the G7 timing. A lot of hopefuls in there, but we'll see. Meanwhile, I am going to build a transport, and we're going to go ahead and build an industry complex on the Philippines. He did pick off my man that was on the Philippines with the bomber. So I do not have him anymore. Because I was thinking about maybe actually getting both these islands this turn, but I think we're going to go ahead and focus on getting Borneo. I know I'm using a pointless cruiser, but that's because if things go bad up here, I'll be able to pull my battleship and still be able to hold things down. I'm going to wait to see how we distribute all our surface ships and where that transport goes after we find out how things go up here. Let's see, we do want to do... right on into there. I haven't decided, but I think I'm going to put those 2 destroyers there and let him do a bomber fighter attack on my 2 destroyers and probably take out one of them. I really have no other plans for this transport, so it's not that big a deal. The only loss is the potential of using those destroyers to help with the fleet build for the UK. Okay. It's a thought I hadn't considered. So one of the things I'm running into issue here is I didn't think about the fact that Japan's going to have these ground units, this tank, and then all this air that he can hit Moscow with. Like I said, my bomber's almost a losable piece. So I think we're going to do an airstrike on this guy. And that'll give me a chance. I'm thinking things through here. I wish the bomber could reach here, because that's where I really would like to do an airstrike. But he cannot, so... you know what? We can do is airstrike this one. So what I'm looking at is I'm wanting to... no, it doesn't really matter which one of those I hit. I'm wanting to minimize how much I use of my Russian infantry here. I definitely want to use these 2, though, for taking things. So if I take out that guy, 1 goes there. If I take out this guy, 1 goes there, 1 goes there anyways. Let's go that route. You know what? I'm changing my mind as I talk. Once again. Because this guy is the one that can threaten hitting Moscow. He can't hit Moscow, so he's not as much of a threat. Alright. So killing the carrier of Japan is kind of important because that'll limit what all cruiser infantry. Thank you. Okay, there we go. All right. So killing the killing the carrier is an important part because I don't have to stack this as much. So bombers can reach here 1 2 3 1 2 3, but the fighters 1 2 3 they can only go one more spot. and so they need a carrier to catch them, and this carrier can go 1-2 down to here. So it would take 2 fighters out of the threat on the 47 if I can take out this carrier. So oh, ha ha ha, breathing, 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 breathing. Okay. All right, there we go. Oh, I actually wanted to lose 1 fighter. Oh well. More to that. That just means I have to move my carrier off of here, and I can't get 2 extra fighters down that way. So I'll only be able to get 3 fighters down to here for US 7 versus 4 fighters making that. But I can't complain. I shouldn't complain. You know, living pieces is living pieces, right? All right. And I certainly can't complain about having the Navy out of the picture. Okay, good job, bomber. All right, and he didn't hit, thankfully. You know what? Since fighter and bomber lived, we'll leave him back. And we'll use the US guy after all. I was going to switch him to try and maximize the dead zone of West Russia, but he easily can hit West Russia with the Japanese fighters, so there's nothing there to dead zone. Alright, I believe we can send 2 of them back to here. 1 to here. Let's see, that's going to give him a... It gives me 4 versus 1, 2, 3, and a bomber. I mean, he's got better odds on it, to be perfectly honest. Let's see, so the 2 bombers can hit here. I believe I need at least 2 here. So, yeah. This gives me like a 40% chance to live and a 60% chance to live here. It does give him advantage up here where he could have a profitable battle. 2, 3, 4. Yep, I can't land them here, and I could bring on my fleet up here. But if I do that, I think this through. What if instead, I really didn't want that fighter to live. It's throwing me off. What if we did this? How much do we need to send here? So that gives me 9 units. And he'll have 2 bombers, 5 fighters like 1. Oh wait, this fighter probably can't reach him, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. He can't reach him, so that's 1 less. So these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 fighters, 2 bombers, and a sub. And it's a battle he doesn't really even want to take, to be perfectly honest. So what do we need? I'm taking a look at my calculator here real quick. A battleship, 2 carriers, and a destroyer really is with the sub. So we got 6 boats, 9 planes. That's this be a little bit more safe. And then he could cycle back around next time to grab some people, right? Ooh, you know what? We'll even move him here where he could grab him and just drop and sacrifice maybe, or he can cycle down here. I did build that transport, by the way, that I'm going to put in 11 for backup to the Africa situation. Alright. Let's go with that. It's kind of stinky that they're there. That's not a great place for them to start at, but because they can land into this area, but they can't reach quite far enough to where we want them. I wanted them here where they could go to there. Anyways, wanna. Not gonna have a. Alright, since we're in turtle mode at this point for Russia, I think we are going to go ahead and get us an AA out of it. And we're going to go there, there, there. 1, 2, 3. Does that leave me what I need? I need to go check my notes on what I need to have in Caucasus here. Coming up on G5. I want 18 infantry, 5 artillery. Well, not artillery, that's right. We're not building artillery. I was thinking about building artillery. We want 20 infantry, 3 artillery. We got 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I need 1 less. I need 1 more infantry though. So 14, 18, 20 infantry, 3 artillery. We'll have our 3 tanks, we'll have our 4 fighters. Oh, just go with it. I'm just doing it. Thank you, fighter. Thank you. Okay, that was the most important thing, was killing the infantry. Even more so than the territory, so. 2 hits, come on, bam! Whiff! Uh, crap. Yeah, wasn't what I wanted, but. Alright. So. 14, 17, 24. Wait. 14, 17, 24, 28, 30 units. That's what I need. About my Moscow. Alright, well. Gets us Moscow down to 40%, so. Actually, probably slightly better than 40% because I had an infantry instead of artillery. Oh well. It is gonna be what it's gonna be. I don't like this. I'm gonna be flying fighters in here from UK, but still not a big fan of that. But alright. Alright guys, things are about to get very bloody and interesting here. So as you can already see, there's no units left in Moscow, which is kind of what I was afraid of, but I do have a card up my sleeve still. So the part I don't know, and this is the hard part, right, is I don't know how aware my opponent is of the Victory City situation. So we're sitting at 8. I need 2 more. He left France open. And right now, Shanghai is empty. So he has no destroyers left since we took care of that. He can't block me from attacking with my 2 transports. So I have a guaranteed attack on Shanghai here at the very least of 2 infantry and artillery and 3 fighters. Now he could put a destroyer in here and I'd have to fight through that, and he could put boats in here, but I got enough boats I could fight through that. So we'll have 3 fighters, 2 infantry, and artillery. We'll have the cruiser and battleship as well if he doesn't put a destroyer in there to block the bombardment. But I imagine he'll at least do that, because I imagine he's going to think about protecting his factory, which is an important part too, because I want that factory. If this game continues on, I want that factory for US. So here we go. What does so that leaves Moscow here as the question mark, right? So currently he has an artillery, a tank, 4 whoops, can't draw a box, 4 fighters and a bomber that can hit there. So 6 units altogether, rolling 3s and higher, but only one that can, or well, 2, excuse me. Sorry, I forgot about him. That one rolling a 2. So that's 7 units, excuse me, with 6 of them rolling 3 or higher, and only 2 of them able to occupy. What can UK put in there? We got 2 fighters here that can get there. We got a fighter here that can get there. We've got a fighter here, and we have a fighter here. I can't hit here, 2, 3, 4, and get to Moscow. So this tank is going to get a freebie if I decide to send all my fighters. So I can have five UK fighters sitting in here. Well, the other thing I can do along the way is we can go ahead and hit this guy though. 1, 2, 3 with 3 fighters, and at least take out the artillery. Maybe risking a fighter. So we'll have 4 or 5 fighters sitting in Moscow versus a tank, 4 fighters, and a bomber. Still, I mean, if I have 5 fighters, I think it lowers him down to like a 55 or 60% chance of taking Moscow, destroying all his air force though in doing so, which of course that's great opportunity for the Allies building up here. And he's already down to just 3 German fighters left. So there's good opportunity cost in that. But here's the other thing. So if Japan takes this, which is tempting, there's partially a temptation to say, well, let's just let Japan have it, right? In a KJF, Japan having Berlin is not a bad thing. It's going to make things awkward for them, especially when I'm already dominant on the coast, and I can probably take this guy from them. So it'll be awkward for Japan at the very least if they held on to it. But I still have this infantry fighter, and the best case he can have is a tank sitting there. And in getting there, he had to use all his air up to get it, right? And that's important, because if I have my 4 fighters there, that's important. 1 infantry, 1 fighter, sacrificing the fighter. Oh, I think I had it up. What was it, like a 77% chance of winning and taking the territory. Let me pull that again real quick. 1 infantry, 1 fighter versus 1 tank. With sacrificing the fighter is a 77.4% chance of so that's a 77.4% chance of taking the territory. Profit doesn't really matter at that point, right? Now, that means he sent all that air, so none of that other than the bomber, 1, 2, 3, well, not even the bomber, none of that air then would be able to land in Shanghai. He would be able to put in artillery, a tank, a fighter, and a bomber, and a Shanghai. Well, 6 units attacking without a bombardment is an 80% chance. I'll just save the math for you guys to win it. And this is free. So I then had to take this. So I'd had that 77% chance of taking that, 80% chance of taking that, 100% chance of taking that, game over, because Karelia is in Russia's hands. Game over at the end of US 5. The other option is if Japan doesn't take Moscow, they don't attack, they don't take Moscow, and they come back and reinforce because they realize, hey, we're going to lose on Victory City, then I can move all of this in with no Japan air surviving if he did I don't even know what he'd do there. Even without the US air or UK air surviving, if all we did was build 6 units, I believe I can build in Russia and move all this in, I'm stacked against Germany from being able to win on G6 at least. So we're actually in a decent situation. Now what I'm not going to do is take France with the UK. Because if I take France with the UK, he'll get a warning when you're only one victory city short of losing. You get this warning that pops up and says, "Hey, watch out! You're only one victory city away from losing." And then he's gonna go, "Oh," and come back and realize that, "Hey, I need to stack back there." So we're gonna use the UK to come in here and trade instead. We're gonna trade off Baltic and Northwest Europe, and we're gonna leave. Since Japan can't hit this transporter anyway, we're going to leave this transport to come down to take France with US instead. Which, even if, even if we blitz the tank, back and forth and then take the infantry down there just to take the 6 IPC, I'd appreciate US having it anyways, as we got to build stacks down here. So that's what we're looking at. I mean, it's a lot of stuff I just wanted to cover real quick there and going through it. So I was working on my purchase here. So one thing I do want is I'm building a bomber to go in India as a backup in case my infantry does not hit in defense. We're going ahead and building a bomber to back him up. Then I'm not going to use my tank. And actually, I'm just going to use my 2 infantry. So we need 4 infantry built. 2 to replace the 2 I'm going to use for taking these guys. And then we need 2 in India with the bomber. So that's my minimum build. So now I've got 12 IPC fun to build. So what I'm going to do there is we're going to take away and put a tank in here for blitzing back over this way. And I actually think we're going to do a couple of them there. So we're going to do 2 tanks and a bomber here. And the reason being is I'm going to stack into here. We're going to start having UK push this way right now while I got a little bit of time, so we can really put pressure on this factory if this game goes on, because he's got no transports left. All he has is 3 infantry, a tank, and all this air that he could hit it with. I'm going to put, at least 4 units and an AA in there, and I'm willing to do that. Because then we also have the US starting to pick people off if needed. So what do I want to spend my other 6 IPC on is the question. If I only want 1 tank, I could actually go ahead and get a 3rd. You know what? I think we're going to go ahead and do that. Actually, now as I talk it through, let's go ahead and get another transport out here. He's got it's a freebie. I can put him wherever I want because this fighter can't reach out here. These fighters are way over here, so it's free territory up here right now. All right, so now we're back to an infantry and artillery, and that gives me 2. Still have 3, 4, 5 units, or my other transport can always come back and pick up these guys next turn. So we don't need to change those artillery because we don't have that many. We're already balanced here, and we'd be balanced there, so we're just going to save that other 2 IPC. I'd be interested to read in the comments how many other people have other ideas of what I should have done on this turn, if any. I'm certainly getting creative in my play this game, this turn. This whole game, I should say, is more correct. Anything else? I don't see anything else. Alright, we gotta hit that artillery for sure, and then we want no hitbacks. Alright, there we go. Got our bad dice out of the way. Alright, here we go. Most important thing is to get a hit. There we go. And then he misses. Yes, good. He's got the one fighter, but I got my two destroyers that I'm going to be able to bring in here. So we'll be okay there. Push him forward. Go ahead and bring him on back. We're going to bring our subs over to work on a dead zone of the med, since the US have this pretty well handled over here. Now, do I want to pull one fighter back and actually entice him to go there? Let me see what it looks like. We're going to pull this up. I'm sending everything looks like there. So we're going to have 5 fighters in there. If he sends a tank and 4 fighters and a bomber. Yeah, we're going to leave them all there. He has a 60% chance to win and survive with the tank, but he'll waste all the rest of his air. So we're just going to put them all in there, and we're going to leave them in there. I'm always happy for UK to trade with Japan. All right, we'll see what he does. Do want my bomber here. I want a tank here. I want an infantry here. We'll throw a couple infantry up here. And we're going to put one here just because he can come down to Africa in case of need. There we go. All right, crew. So looks like he went for it. Looks like he failed. Looks like he left Shanghai wide open. And France is wide open. I'm at 8 victory cities, so that should give me the 10 and the win. I always, just in case I did something goofy, I always go ahead and build, like I'm going to anyway. So I got an industry, a fighter, and 7 land. 3 for the Philippines, 2 for here, where this transport's going to go here. He can come here, grab them, come back, and then 2 for this side, where we're going to drop some people off, and he can come back and grab them and come back down again next turn. So, all intents and purposes, it does appear this game should be over. That should make 9. And that should make 10. Again, nothing is in here. 1 versus nothing. But just in case, we'll go ahead and grab in here. And Grabbing there. And grabbing there. And that should finalize the game for the VC snipe. Green, green, 10 out of 10. So, game over. Again, remember this all just started with that opener. It's extremely strong. Unfortunately, one of the viewers in Discord did text me that he had the same situation come up. He tried it. Seazone 37 went absolutely horrible. Unfortunately, I mean, that is a risk, but as we showed, it's a 70% chance to go good enough for what we want. But that does mean 30% chance can go downhill, in which case you gotta switch to the KGF and prepare for India 3. Unfortunately, his was so bad, he's gonna be in deep trouble as it is. So, um, it works, and if he hadn't done anything, he was gonna be in deep trouble anyways. So, uh, it's not like a huge deal, but you got to choose your risks, right? Basically, I'm just playing. I don't need to do all this. I get hypersensitive that the game's gonna goof up and not realize it. I know it's stupid, it's crazy. Um, I don't care. I just like to go ahead and take my turn just in case I goofed anything up. That should be victory. All right, there we go. On to game 7. We'll check out real quick. I always do like to see who I was playing there. Let's see game history. Of course, it'll take a while till my rank updates. That's what we're just doing. Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, I did see that he had some intelligent plays in there, but he completely missed the victory city there, or he realized he's already in the doghouse and not arguing up. But platinum Axis player, 74% win rate, it's not bad. Finished top 59 last year in Axis. Yeah, he's been pretty regular platinum player here. So season 7 was his coming in here. So he learned quickly and he's done well. So all right, well, hopefully that'll end up bumping us up a little bit, and then we'll see the next game. So that takes us to the 6-0. And again, this takes an hour to update, so I'll update it at the start of the next game for you guys. There we go.